Welcome, one and all. Bear witness, one and all. This is the last bracket fight of the core collection. So what's going to happen here is we are going to. This is 16. Yes, 16 of my of like 64 games that I'm like, these are a part of my core collection of games that I'm always willing to recommend to basically anybody for any reason whatsoever, for different reasons. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain why I like the game, why it's a part of the core collection, and then the goal of this is to have them face off against one another and to have me debate apples and oranges, be nitpicking and biased, so that way I can determine which one I like the most. So that's what we're here to do. It's what Jarrell's here to help me do, and we're gonna have a good time.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah, brother. So Tetris 99. Why is Tetris 99 in the core collection? Tetris 99 is in the core collection because it's Tetris. I mean, you see the blocks in your dreams. It is so. There's never been such a pick up and play game ever. You press buttons, you get immediate input and action. There's immediate a level of urgency. There's immediate there's immediate satisfaction when you see a line go through. You understand immediately strategy. The game has such a low skill end barrier of entry, but such a high skill ceiling for what you can do and how you can prep. Tetris 99 just says, how would you like to do that? But just with the idea that you're also doing it against other people, and it still gives you that Tetris experience, but like it's that against other people thing. It feels like you're all trying to solve this puzzle, this Rubik's Cube as fast as possible, solve this Tetris puzzle as fast as possible. And it's a timeless game put into a modern day genre of battle royale that just it fits so well in unexpectedly, but it's great. So that's why it's in the core collection. Cuphead, why is Cuphead in the core collection? Cuphead is in the core collection because flippin' it's Cuphead. Like, what am I supposed to say? It's a delightful game with a delightful presentation, and it's pretty fun. I would say that a strong reason why Cuphead is here is because of everything surrounding Cuphead. It just so happens that Cuphead is also a boss rush style mode with levels of spiked difficulty in, some would say all sections, some would say certain sections, you know what I mean. So really though, Cuphead is its 1930s rubber hose style art. It's like delightful 1900s full orchestral jazzy house soundtrack, old timey, that type of stuff. It is That's what Cuphead is, and then it just so happens that that's that Cuphead esque, those Cuphead qualities are wrapped around a boss rush style mode. The boss rush style mode is great. The bosses are so inventive and the environments are so specific and well themed, and I really love that. But I would say that like I just so happen to love Cuphead's boss rush style modes rather than that being the reason why I go to the game. I go to the game for the art style. I go to the game for its presentation. So that's why it's part of the core collection. Between the two, this is like if what's a good analogy? Basically, imagine Cuphead is a really good basketball player, but then in Tetris 99 is like if they cloned Larry Bird. Like Larry Bird was an amazing basketball player, and then you're just telling me he's now like a younger clone and he's just playing with the big boys in 2025 and he's still killing it on the court. Like that's what Tetris 99 feels. Feels like a fresh coat of paint on an effortless on a continually timeless video game. So it's Tetris 99. But like it's also Cuphead, like you know what I mean? Like Cuphead's great. So yeah. Um this is
Ooh.
I hate this. I This is going to be so difficult for me. So why is Resident Evil 2 in the core collection? Resident Evil 2 is in the core collection because it's a game that was too scary for me the first time I played it. It's a game.
Same.
It's a game that legitimately I bought it. I got it as a gift for my 21st birthday on Steam. It was on sale. I played it for like the first hour, and then I got to the part where you're walking down that hallway all by yourself, and then you have to do the run back, and you just have to run past like three zombies. And I was legitimately so stressed out from doing that that I returned the game and I got a refund. And then I bought it 2 years later again, or 3 years later, and then I finally beat it. And then I beat it again, and then I beat it again, and then I beat it again. So I've beaten this game like 4 or 5 times at this point. It is it's such a good game to run back to. It's such a good game to the way that it sparses out its difficulty. It has spikes, but it always has a constant level of tension, like a constant buzz, like tinnitus in your ear. And it's so great. I think it's another timeless game. And it's truly like, I don't know. There's not anything more I could say about it that could sell you on it, because I feel like I've just everything's already been said about it. I feel like it's gonna stand. Like, it's like my favorite survival horror game that I've ever played. It's just it's phenomenal in like every regard. So that's why it's in the core collection. Batman Arkham City. Why is Batman Arkham City in the core collection? That's like asking why is water wet. Batman Arkham City was in the core collection before my idea of video games was even fully formed. Batman Arkham City was a major component on a better awareness about my formation about what a video game could be. I was 12 when Batman Arkham City came out. I didn't play Batman Arkham Asylum. I had gotten an Xbox 360 in between those two games, and when I got Arkham City, I was like, this is the coolest game I've ever played, because it's created the meme, it makes you feel like you're Batman. But I would say that power fantasy is definitely a big component of this action game. I would say that the gamifying techniques of like your bat utility belt with all of your bat tools, your batarangs, your bat claws, your explosive gel. I would say that they took a lot of what worked in Arkham Asylum, and they really found a way to cohesively transform it into this open world setting of Arkham City. A lot has been said about, like, the amount of Riddler trophies in that game. Like, I think it's absolutely comical that Batman Arkham City has more Riddler trophies. Like, I think maybe twice the amount of Riddler trophies that Arkham Knight has. And Arkham Knight is like 5 times the size as Arkham City is. That just shows you how densely packed Arkham City is with these Riddler trophies. Arkham City is iconic. I never watched the animated series Batman. So this is my introduction to Kevin Conroy as Batman, aka the best Batman, the definitive Batman in my eyes. It was my introduction to Mark Hamill as the Joker, the definitive Joker in my eyes. It has Nolan North as the Penguin is great. I love that rendition of the Penguin. I think it's so much fun. I think that Hugo Strange is such an interesting villain. I think the inclusions of things like Ra's al Ghul were so well done, and Arkham City is properly iconic in a way that I think has transcended, has superseded the other ways that the other Arkham games are iconic. So like I think it's more iconic than Asylum, or it's like its iconic features hit to a greater extent in Arkham City than they do in Asylum or Night, if that makes sense. There's less holding it back into that extent, in my opinion. Now, to do the impossible and to decide between them, like, goodness, to quote Ethan. So, Jarrell, I have a very modern game that I want to replay, and I have a game that I played so much that I don't think I could ever touch again. Now, obviously, replayability is not a feed factor in this. Like, I think we think it's well established in this series that that is no longer a factor. But I think that Just had to check
So
something
for
real.
my
Yeah.
for my uh for my side, I haven't played Arkham City except for that was the one that you did in VR, right?
No, that was Arkham Shadow. That was like
Oh,
a
so completely
prequel.
different game.
Yeah, completely different game.
Okay. In that case, I haven't seen
Have you seen
any, I
any
think.
Arkham game?
I don't Yeah, I've seen Arkham Asylum.
Okay, we're changing this over the years, so be prepared for the time of your life.
I have not seen anything to do with Arkham City, so I can't say much on that game. But as for Resident Evil 2, watching you play through what I have, never been quite so scared in my life. I don't do well with horror things. But it was quite exciting watching you play through it.
So there's really two levels that I'm looking at this with. There's overall like quality, like on a trying to separate my enjoyment from this like my measure of quality of the game. And then there's also just like personal impact on me because it's now personal impact on me, that's going to go to Arkham City all the way. I already so right now the deciding feature has to be like as an objective observer with no skin in the game, like what do I do? And it's a tough call because Arkham City is okay. I'm gonna give Resident Evil 2 its flowers, but I've decided that it goes to Arkham City. Resident Evil 2 is a phenomenal video game that is forever gonna be replayable for me. It's a game that's like 5 hours. I can just perfectly just like run it back. I know where all the I know where all the drops are. I know where all the item placements are. So I can just like do that. I love that unlocking feature, the master of unlocking, like Jill Valentine. I love that ability to like master something. And I think Resident Evil 2, with the way that its item placements work, with the way that its enemy placements work, with the way that its mechanics operate and function together, I think that it's a great game to master in that way. But Arkham City, like Mario 64 DS, turned me into the gamer that I am today. So for that reason, I feel compelled to to pick Arkham City. So
Heck yeah.
okay, Halo Combat Evolved versus Dark Souls 1. Halo Combat Evolved is winning this. So why is Dark Souls 1 in the core collection? Dark Souls 1 is in the core collection because it's like the last FromSoft game that I've ever beaten, if you don't count Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. I played Bloodborne, then Sekiro, then Dark Souls 3. Then I tried playing Dark Souls 1. Then I went to Demon Souls for some reason. Then I played Elden Ring. Then I played like 15 minutes of Dark Souls 2, and then I found out that it wasn't directed by Hidetaka Miyazaki, so I was like, I don't care anymore. And then like after 15 playthroughs of Bloodborne, I was like, let me give Dark Souls 1 another shot. Because I basically gave up right at ONS, Ornstein and Smog, which is like best boss fight in that game by far. But I just had other things going on at the time. I just found that the boss run back was just getting tiring for me, so I was just like, let me go back again. So I started with a fresh save. I think last year, 2 years ago, 2023 maybe, or like early 2024. And I flip in. I dove right in. I really love and respect Dark Souls 1. I think it's another one of those games where even though it feels dated, it also feels timeless. And it did absolutely so much for like the medium of video games. Like it pushed the medium forward in ways that there's like I think this game came out in 2011. So you have between Arkham City, Dark Souls and Skyrim, I think that of the three, Skyrim had the biggest impact on corporate decision making at the time. but I think that the one that pushed the medium of video games forward the most was Dark Souls, because it's like the Demon Souls was a really good proof of concept. It was a bit clunky, but um, Dark Souls is really that like Demon Souls refined, Demon Souls brought into a more full context and extent. You have really great bosses, really great environments, really iconic moments. One of the best final bosses that like has the best score that I've ever heard in my entire life. If you ever heard it before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't heard it before, highly recommend looking it up. So that's why it's in the core collection, because it is like it's here as a time capsule representation of how good Miyazaki is. Like I'm pretty sure every single Miyazaki game, except for Demon Souls, is on this core collection to an extent. Like if you count Shadow of the Air Tree, technically bringing in Elden Ring in a way, then basically, except for Demon Souls, every Miyazaki game is represented in the core collection, and that's
I want to
really
add on to that and say I'm pretty sure every single Miyazaki game has been nominated for Game of the Year
yeah, yeah,
in the year that it came out.
yeah. For
If it didn't win, it was at least nominated.
it, I mean, Sekiro won in 2019. It was Jeff's favorite game of that year, and then it was Jeff's favorite game
Elden
of
Ring won as
2022.
well.
Yeah, and yeah, you're totally right. I can't wait for the Dusk Bloods. Imagine if the Dusk Bloods was terrible,
Oh no.
dude. Miyazaki's cooked. The man makes one game that isn't Game of the Year nominated, and then all of a sudden everyone just hates on him. Um,
Oh man. And of course it would launch on the Switch.
yeah, of
Switch
course.
2.
Yeah, exactly. Switch doesn't have any real games, but it's Halo Combat Evolved. Halo Combat Evolved is one of the finest video games ever made. It spawned an entire third console that was destined to lose the console wars, but it kept that console relevant for a good 20 years. And that is like basically 100% fact, because of how Halo Combat Evolved is so good. It kept Xbox relevant for decades. Like, it's insane how good this game is. It's insane how good um the first mission, the Pillar of Autumn mission, is iconic. The second mission, Halo, spawned an entire video game, Halo Infinite. Like that entire proof of concept. It felt like a proof of concept level that Halo took and just said, we're just gonna make this level the whole game. And then I think it's not episode. I think it's chapter 4, the fourth level. I think is called. It's either the Silent Cartographer or Assault on the Control Room. I haven't played it in a minute, so, and I'm fake fan confirmed, but like that's a good level, man. Like it's crazy. Um, it's Halo. Like it's Halo. Like I don't even have to say anything. Like it's Halo. You know what I mean? So
I want to add on to the fact that before we continue, that if we're talking about pushing mediums forward, Halo Combat Evolved definitely pushed the first person shooter medium leaps and bounds.
that is so true. That is that is a 100% certified fact. I just fact checked it, so confirmed. Um,
Confirmed.
confirmed. Hades versus Super Mario Odyssey. I have no idea which one's gonna win this, so I'm very excited to find out. So why is Super Mario Odyssey in the core collection? Super Mario Odyssey is in the core collection because it's a Mario game, and because it's like the first Mario game I was able to buy with because of a job that I had. Like first mainline 3D Mario game since 2012, which felt like a lifetime ago. Like when you're a child, 2 years feels like, oh, that's such an old game. Mario Odyssey came out 8 years ago, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's the pretty recent Mario game that came out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like Galaxy and Galaxy 2 were a lifetime away by the time 2017 hit. Mario Odyssey still feels like a brand new game to me. And that's, I don't, I'm getting old is what I'm saying. I'm unk status for real. Mario Odyssey is a delight. It's got such wonderful controls, such wonderful worlds, such fun puzzle platforming, such. I think they fully pushed the ideas that they had. Like when Galaxy was created, they talked about during the development of Mario Galaxy 2. They just talked about how they had this whole entire wealth of ideas that they're like, we want to do more with this. There's so much more we could push this. I feel like Super Mario Odyssey, it perfectly utilizes to like the perfect extent all of their ideas that they're trying to do. It doesn't overuse them, but it doesn't underutilize them. They feel properly balanced and weighted over the course of the whole game. Um, it's really great. I played it twice before. The last time I played it was 2020 when I got like every moon, and then I just like I put it back in every once in a while, and I just I do whatever. I gallivant around. I play some of Luigi's Balloon World, but very good game. Like not my favorite Mario game, but then again, there's like 7 Mario games on this list, so like that's not saying much honestly. Um so yeah, so that's why it's in the core collection. Why is Hades in the core collection? Hades is in the core collection because roguelikes are the best genre of video game, and Hades is like my favorite roguelike, except for maybe Balatro. Hades is wonderful. Hades is like when I was a kid, I read Percy Jackson. It's like the perfect evolution of a Percy Jackson kid's brain of like Olympus and Olympians. And what I mean by that is like it's not like oh they took the Percy Jackson character like version of those characters, but like it feels like a more adult version of the Greek mythology that you enjoyed as a kid. So you can really it's very approachable. You can go based off of like the knowledge that you gained about Greek mythology from like 10 years ago for my example. And you can still have a good time with this world and these characters that they have adapted for this game. Combat insane, such great speed, such a good dash mechanic. But really the magic sauce of this game is the boons. And the level of synergy that you can have in a build is so much fun. I constantly say that I'm not an RPG guy, but the second you give me the potential to have a cool build that does a lot of damage, I'm just like, dude, sign me up immediately. I will number crunch. I don't care. Like it's so sick. So I'm a hypocrite is what I'm saying. Um I that's why Hades is in the core collection. It's Hades. Like I like Hades more than I like Super Mario Odyssey. So I think my explanations kind of justified that decision. Do you agree?
I agree.
Okay, that's all we got to say then. Okay, that's the most timeless game in the world versus a game that felt dated 2 years after it came out. That being said, like flipping, this is like if the clone of Larry Bird went up against present day Shaquille O'Neal. That's what this is. Like Shaquille O'Neal is, he had his time of, like being a trained insane athlete takes a toll on you. The man's living his life. I'm not saying he's unhealthy. You know what I mean when I say that analogy. That being said, I will in this instance absolutely pick the modern day Shaquille O'Neal to the clone of Larry Bird because I don't even know what's going on with these analogies today. Um I I love Arkham City and like I said, it made me the type of gamer that I am today. Like straight up. I love this game. Halo Combat Evolved. Halo Combat Evolved is probably like yeah, Halo Combat Evolved. Like Halo Combat Evolved is a game-changing, genre-defining, console-creating video game. And I think Halo Combat Evolved is probably my favorite Halo. Like it is the most like full experience you're gonna get. Although there is another Halo game on this list that it might. I haven't decided yet, but like, man, I love me some Combat Evolved. This is tough. This is not fun. This is like apples and oranges, except a time capsule of both. So the best parts about Arkham City is its adaptation of all of these characters for me. To see such a great Penguin, a great Catwoman, a fun Ra's al Ghul that really leans into the wilder aspects, the more comic aspects of Ra's al Ghul, rather than like the Liam Neeson Ra's al Ghul, or as they say in that movie, Ra's al Ghul. Um, I I love the way that Kevin Conroy says Raish in that in Arkham City. It's such a fun game, and it really introduces you, welcomes you into the larger world of Batman if all you've seen is the movies. I love this game, truly. Halo Combat Evolved is so sick. Like, you've got the Magnum, you've got the plasma pistol,
A
you've
shotgun.
got you've got the shotties like a melody in my head, dude. You've got the Halo level, you've got the silent cartographer level. Unfortunately, you have the library level. You have the Pillar of Autumn. You just have so many iconic things in this game. I think I'm gonna have to go with Arkham City. Like, it's just I've played that game so many times, and I have such a it has made such a profound impact on me. And nah, do I want to pick Arkham City? Am I talking myself out of it right now? Um,
I mean, I don't know if it's had that big of an impact on
it
you. This
has,
is
but
like
like
your list. You know what I mean?
it is. That is totally true. Wait, this is. I thought this was your list. What
No,
do
no,
you?
no. This isn't a best video games of all time list. This is a Grant's best video games of all time list.
I
The core collection, as they
the
say.
core collection, as they
Core
say.
collection. Not gaming's core, Grant's core.
Yeah, but like at the same time, that is that is almost like I'm not saying that that sentence undermines Halo or like tries to like lessen the impact of Halo Combat Evolved. But like Halo Combat Evolved, I've played quite a bit. Like that's a game that when I had it downloaded on my PC before my PC decided to stop running Halo for some reason, I just would like run it back. I would just like, hop in for 15 minutes, play the Halo mission, and leave. I think Halo Combat Evolved is a phenomenal game. I think it might be the better game. And I think I'm not saying that like both of the but those both of those are very strong points, you know what I mean? So not to say that I'm trying to lessen my own personal impact that Arkham City's had on me, but also trying to look at them in a fair light with even chances. This is a very even fight for different reasons. I don't want you know how in Rocky, part of the reason why the Rocky versus Apollo Creed matchup was such a bad fight is because people hate southpaws. And like a southpaw just hits at an angle that a normal fighter, a right-handed fighter just isn't used to. I feel like the personal impact punch is like a southpaw punch. In like in a regular fight, I want to try to give these games as even a fight as possible and even a chance as possible because it's not Arkham City's fault or it's not Halo Combat Evolved's fault that I didn't get to experience that game earlier in my life or at the right time in my life or a different time in my life. You know what I mean? Um,
Right.
Not that I'm trying to remove personal impact. I'm overthinking it, is what I'm doing right now. But I think I've properly unraveled all of that. And I can say that flipping Halo Combat Evolved is such a good game, dude. I
It really is. I love Halo Combat Evolved.
It's Arkham City. All that
Bada
is
bing,
to
bada
say
boom.
the same thing that I said initially. Anyways, neither here nor there. What'd you say?
So quite the interesting matchup here.
I know. Okay, so next up we have Vampire Survivors versus Super Mario Bros. Wonder. So why is Vampire Survivors in the core collection? Vampire Survivors is in the core collection because there has never been, up until the creation of Balatro, there's never been such a perfect podcast game. So Vampire Survivors was created by like one guy, and this guy worked at like a phone app company that made casino games. So it was literally his job to create an experience, a loop that got people addicted to playing, so that way you could charge money for them. Charge money for like, the bonuses, the little cooldowns and whatnot. And he said, what if I just made a little product called made, you know, I made it what I made it. It has that same level of like dopamine hit feedback loop, but I'm not charging you. You're just having a good time and you're not getting like ripped off or anything. That's what Vampire Survivors is. It spawned so many different Survivor clones. I think it has such a fun personality to it. It is it's not endlessly replayable. I did hit a point where I was like, okay, I've seen every part of the game that I care about. I'm kind of done with this, but like the time that I was playing it in 2023 and sometime in 2022, um amazing. Really, really great. I I highly recommend like dipping your toe to the extent that you want to in that game if you haven't yet. So that's why it's in the core collection. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is in the core collection because the developer said, what if we dedicated to, had a dedication to innovation in the same way that the 3D Mario games had, but we applied that to the 2D Mario games. The 2D games got really stale with the new series, New Super Mario Bros. Mario Bros. Wonder is like such a fun bastion of creativity. It is like for the most part all completely new power-ups. Um you have fun like Wonder Seed upgrades that transform the world and make it different. It feels like a completely new avenue that has so much potential to it. And I'm really excited to see what they do next. I loved it. It was like my second favorite game that came out in 2023. Um, so that's why it's in the core collection. I'd say this is probably Mario Bros. Wonder's flowers, but at the same time, Vampire Survivors is still great. That doesn't take anything away from Vampire Survivors.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah, brother. Dark Souls 3 versus Halo 3. Why is Dark Souls 3 in the core collection? Dark Souls 3 is in the core collection because Dark Souls was made more like Bloodborne, and therefore it was the simple. Another way you could say that is Dark Souls 3 made the Dark Souls franchise better in that way, combat wise. Um, Dark Souls 3, it's at its best when you're fighting a really good boss, which is pretty much every boss in that game. There's like one boss that I don't like, and I can't even remember it off the top of my head. But you have like you have Nameless King, you have Pontiff Sulivan, you have the Ashen Lord, you have Yorn the Giant, you've got so many like hit after hit after hit of just either an interesting mechanic for the boss or a really good like proper 1v1. Abyss Watchers probably one of my favorite bosses in all of From Softum. Nameless King also definitely my favorite boss in that game. I love those fights. I think it's so much fun. I I think Dark Souls 3 is at its worst when you're not fighting those bosses. And that's unfortunately because I think that the level design definitely is lacking in comparison to what came before, especially compared to Dark Souls 1, where Dark Souls 1, the way that the world interacts with Firelink Shrine, where you have everything connects back to Firelink Shrine all the way down to the lowest depths, all the way up to the highest highs of the world. Like they all like loop back around, and it's crazy that level of connectivity. But that's just very unfortunately not in Dark Souls 3. But Dark Souls 3 is still sick. Like it's still Dark Souls 3 has so much sauce to it, and that really shows in the boss design. Also, like it's got two really great modes. It's also flippin' bloody Slave Knight Gale, part of some of the hardest DLC bosses that you will ever find. I love the DLC bosses. They're insane. But yeah, so that's why Dark Souls 3 is in the core collection. Why is Halo 3 in the core collection? Halo 3 is in the core collection because Halo 3 is one of the best games ever made. I adore Halo 3. I have a Halo 3 poster right over there. You can see like the little corner of it right there. It is such a good video game. The legacy of Halo 3's multiplayer and the Forge mode, those have been well documented by many a YouTuber. I would recommend Nakey Jakey's Halo 3 video if you're interested. But my experience with Halo 3 is mostly on the campaign side. I think it's such a fun campaign. Like it's iconic. You have the Arbiter and Master Chief like back to back. You've got the Grave Mind. You've got Guilty Spark coming back. You have you have so many like really cool ideas at play in executed in Halo 3, and I think that's so interesting. I'm I'm a huge fan. I think it goes to Halo 3 because Halo 3 is like an all-around good video game, and then Dark Souls 3 is like if they had a boss rush mode in Dark Souls 3 like they do in Sekiro, I probably would honestly give it to Dark Souls 3 just because that means that they understood what they made and how to access the best part of what you made all the time. But unfortunately they didn't do that, so yeah. So but Dark Souls 3 still really great. I'm still a fan, so you know what I mean? So Yakuza Like a Dragon. Why is Yakuza Like a Dragon in the core collection? It's in the core collection because Kasuga Ichiban is one of my favorite characters in a video game. I think Kasuga Ichiban is such a chaotic bundle of wholesome joy, and it's really cool how the game's flair is molded around that idea of chaotic joy. I I think its story is really interesting. I think it's one of the few turn-based games that I really love, that I was like really able to dive into its turn-based systems because I think those are really like the moves that you do. Like you're not doing like surf in Pokemon. You're doing like I'm a hobo and I'm taking a nap real quick to heal up, or a guy farts on me and so therefore like my team has lower damage or whatever. So like it's the ways in which it translates those mechanics to you to be a bit unique. I really like that. It's got so much in this: side stories, mini games, extra things on top of all the things you're already doing. Really great. It's a lot like a Persona game, or a lot like a Persona 5 fan, where you have to spend like 5 hours with it. Um, I'm of course referencing the Clickhole article of Persona fan swears that he gets better after you spend 5 hours with him. Um, I I think Yakuza Like a Dragon is great. I need to play. I want to. The problem is that my brain says, "Great, you need to play every Yakuza game before you can play Infinite Wealth," because I want to get to know Kazuma Kiryu that to the extent that everyone else does. But it's slow work there, consistent progress. But I do eventually want to play Infinite Wealth, and then hopefully whatever comes after Infinite Wealth. So like the next mainline game. So yeah, so that's why Yakuza Like a Dragon is on the list. Why is Crash Bandicoot 4 on the list? Crash Bandicoot 4 is on the list because it's just a really good Crash game. It's a really good platformer. It's really fun. It doesn't feel like someone else took the reins. Like I've played a number of Crash spin-offs, and that kind of felt like, oh, okay, this is like they're taking Crash but they're doing something totally different with it. This feels like just another Crash game in the best way possible. Um Really difficult too. Like kind of stupid difficult. I'd say honestly that's borderline a fault of the game, but also like the part of my brain that likes that difficulty spike really enjoyed that difficulty spike. So I that's why Crash is in the core collection. Like, really solid game overall. And it did a good job of adapting the Crash gameplay loop of a mixture of like third person and second person um, gameplay, side scrolling some, others 3D environments. Like, really, a really solid time, I'd say. So that's why it's in the core collection. Now, as to which one wins, I'd say that it's Yakuza Like a Dragon. I think that game makes a bigger punch in my mind. I think it takes bolder choices, and I think that is definitely like we've talked a lot about replayability being a feature, but like approachability is also a big feature, and I think Yakuza Like a Dragon does more to approach the player than Crash does. So,
All right.
all right, now here's for the dicey one. So, The Last of Us Part 2, aka the least divisive game of all time, versus Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga. A game that if I don't pick it, my brother will come to my house and beat me up. Um, so why is The Last of Us Part 2 in the core collection? There are so many people probably shaking their monitors right now, wondering that very question. Well, let me answer that question for you, dear viewer. The Last of Us Part 2 is such a good game at times. I think in gameplay, it's the best Naughty Dog game that they've ever made. Absolutely no competition there. The the encounters are so much fun. I played it on Grounded and I had so much fun with that level of difficulty. It was crazy cool. Um I'd say that in terms of story, I have so many problems with the story. So many problems with the story. But also, it's the first game to make me like openly weep as I was watching it. Like as I was watching the cutscene, as I was playing it. That last cutscene that they show between Joel and Ellie is one of my favorite moments in any video game ever. I think it's heartbreaking. It's there's no other way to describe it than heartbreaking. And that is so it's just such a cool thing that they were able to pull off, in my opinion. How they got there, the ways in which they got there, the ways in which they decided to express all these ideas and have a level of choice versus not having a level of choice is something that is going to be debated until the internet finally gives way and we go back to becoming a hunter gatherer society. But it's a divisive game. There are some people that will vow to never play it, but I think it's worth a shot if you want to see a lot of bold swings. So that's why it's in the core collection. It's the black sheep of the core collection, but it's still there nonetheless. I so then Lego Star Wars and the Complete Saga is in the core collection because it's like the best. Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga is the best. Um, I know this game inside and out. Me and my brother know this game inside and out. A couple years ago, we decided to go back and 100% it on the Xbox 360. Like, actually get 100%. We didn't fully do it, but we got all the things that matter to us. Like, we're not doing the side challenge version modes or whatever, because that's just boring. But we did all of everything. We got every character, we got every red brick, we got every uh, mini kit. Like, man, they don't make them like they used to. The Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga, does not compare to this at all. And that's not even saying it as someone that likes or dislikes the sequel trilogy. It just is not as good of a game mechanically, in my opinion, and a good representation of how good this series is, both the Lego series and the Star Wars series. This isn't going to turn into a hate train for the Skywalker saga. I think that they wanted to make Lego Super Mario Odyssey, and they did that. But like, you still have story missions in there that are really, really boring. Um, but that's not here nor there. Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga is so good. Like if you found a way to combine those two, like I think that's the greatest game ever made, possibly. But Complete Saga is a complete banger. And I think based on my description of the two, I think you know which one I'm gonna pick. It has to be the Lego Star Wars: A Complete Saga. Halo 3. Easy.
Easy
It's
collapse.
big dubs. I love Mario Odyssey. I mean Mario Wonder. Don't get me wrong. But it's Halo 3. And this is Lego Star Wars: A Complete Saga. It it is.
That sweep is crazy. Okay, let's see what's up.
I have no idea. Um I think that on the one hand, Lego Star Wars: A Complete Saga allows you to play as Indiana Jones if you want to. On the other hand, Halo lets you play as John Halo, Monster Chef.
Sir Chef. That was a good one.
I love both of these games. They're honestly incomparable. There's barely any connective tissue that besides the fact that you use an Xbox 360 controller to play these games, there's absolutely no Venn diagram connection between these two. So it's like it's not apples and oranges, it's apples and
Atomic Bomb versus Coughing Baby.
like here's the thing though, is that they're both the atomic bomb. Like I have to turn one of these into the coughing baby, but like I think it's Lego Star Wars. Like it's the perfect mix of like I have the ultimate personal connection to it because I've been playing those games for 20 years. Like I've been playing it since 20 years ago, and then it's also like one of the best puzzle games ever. 2012 me is like, Grant, are you telling me we haven't played any games better than this in the past 13 years? And I would be like, dude, you have no idea how good these games are. Like, straight up. Okay, I'm going to restate my case for both. Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga is at its best when you're playing it with somebody and you're just vibing out. Like me playing it at my best is me playing it with my brother and we're just having a good time and we're going through the motions of the game we've played a dozen times before and we know like the back of our hand. And they're so iconic and they're so fun to like walk around and traverse, and the limitations actually create better memories for you because this is back during a time when like you didn't have full choice of all the Lego characters in your party. All your Lego characters in your party, unlike like the Marvel superheroes game, they weren't just like out and about. They were like you could only be two people at a time. All the prequel environments are iconic. I think that the original trilogy is like slightly less iconic. Those levels are definitely a little bit more boring, but like still really pretty great, especially episode 5. Episode 5 has some really good levels. But like this is like the best version of the prequels is in the Lego games. I almost decided to pick Lego Star Wars without even giving Batman Arkham City a chance to fight. Batman Arkham City is one of the most important games to me personally. Like for so many reasons. For my fan appreciation of Batman, for like voice acting, for open world games, for fun action games that like aren't incredibly difficult by any stretch, but have a really satisfying personal power fantasy feedback loop. Um, Even if it's simple, I think it really makes you feel like a Batman. Such a really great story. I think this game is iconic. Yeah, it's Arkham City. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. I had such a good time. Jarrell is unavailable at the moment, but now he had a good time. And we will see you in the next one. Although I don't know what next one is, but you'll flip and see us again. All
You'll
right.
see us again. I didn't know I was muted.
Oh,
I don't know what happened.
you're good. You're good. All right,
How long was I not talking? I've been having whole conversations.
dude. For a minute, dude.
How long is it? What?
Like
Okay.
probably 4 minutes.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I was here for the entirety of it. I
Okay.
guess I
Yeah.
just somehow
Okay.
muted myself.
Yeah, you're good. Um. So yeah. So peace.
Peace.